Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm in all black today because I just came from a funeral service. We're getting to the age where our parents are getting older, and plus, there's just a lot of things out here that get you sick and all the rest of it. Since I've been home, I've been to a lot of funerals, and you never get used to it. That being said, when your number is called, man. There's nothing you can do about it. While I was on the inside, when I was incarcerated, I've seen dudes get stabbed 37 times. They had a white dude that was in the riot with the Spaniels and the Mexicans. He got stabbed up 37 times. They took him to the hospital. They opened him up to patch him up. And when they opened him up, they found that his body was infested with cancer. They ended up scraping all the cancer out, and he survived. The stabbing, in a way, saved his life because he didn't even know he had cancer. That was in Atwater. In Florence, they had a couple of black dudes that got into it with each other over a punk, and one of them stabbed the other dude, stabbed him one time, and it hit him in the perfect spot, and he didn't make it. So yeah, when your time is called, is what it is. The story I have to share with you today is about a friend of mine, Deuce. Now, I met Deuce in Beaumont in 2006. He came over there on a gun case. I think he had like 7 years, right? He's Samoan, out here from Utah. I think he was from SIA, Samoan in Action. But, when we was over there, we kicked it. We had, we did our time. We was cool. When they closed down Beaumont, they split us up. I got sent to Atwater. He got sent to Pollock. We didn't keep in touch or anything like that. But later on, when I was in Atwater, a homie came through, Flip. He's Cambodian out of Boston. And through one of the conversation, Deuce's name came up. And he's like, yeah, I was just over there in Victorville with Deuce. I said, well, yeah, how is he doing? He's still running around, kicking, partying, and all that. He's like, nah, he doesn't drink anymore. He doesn't drink or smoke. I'm like, what? Because, when we was in Beaumont, we drank. I kept a batch of wine in my cell. So we drank every week. And anytime I got a hold of some smoke, we smoked. And we partied and kicked it. And through the course of our time, we never had any issues. Because for me, I'm a happy drunk. When I drink, I'm just trying to chill and I'm happy. But I don't just drink with anybody. I'm very particular who I drink with because, there's people that you meet that are cool, respectful, and easygoing. But when they get that liquor in them, their whole personality change. And some of them are loud and obnoxious, and some of them get aggressive. And, being in a penitentiary, you have to suppress a lot of emotions because emotions can get you killed, literally. So some people, they walk around suppressing all their anger and their hatred and their frustration and their stress and all that. But then when they drink, all that stuff comes out, and there's people that are miserable but they know that, walking around being an asshole could get you killed because not everybody's gonna, take that shit from you. But when they drink, they're their self-reserve is out the door. And, they always say what wine speaks truth, right? And their true personality comes up and they become violent and all the rest. So for me, I'm very particular with who I drink with because I've seen so many occasions where dudes drunk and they disrespect somebody and get their ass fucked off, you know, or they drunk and they always end up in a confrontation and end up killing somebody or catching a case and all the rest of it. So I didn't really find out like what set Deuce on the straight and narrow until later on when I was in Florence. And while we was in Beaumont, we had an incident with this Hawaiian dude named Kamanaka. He's Japanese and Hawaiian. He was sending off money to the DC dude off his account. The story was from him was that he had owed a DC that was in Atwater. And when he was in Beaumont, one of the DC's homies was over there. So he gave me the story that, yeah, I'm sending the money off my account to this dude and he's paying the DC that's back in Atwater. Well, I went to Kamanaka and I told him, man, look, if you need to send your money off your books, send it to one of the homies. That way, we can make sure that it gets to where it's going to go. Because if you're sending your money to this DC dude over here, but then later on, his homeboy in Atwater tells you that he didn't get that money and this dude over here is burning you, then that puts us all in a bind. Because for me, regardless of how I feel about you, if you're Asian or Islander, I'm not going to let another race come and take something from you or extort you or violate you in any way, regardless if I like you or not. Because if I allow another race or another gang to come and press up on you, then people's going to look at me like, oh, he ain't going to stand up for his homies, so we might as well just have a free-for-all. And I try to explain that to this Kamanaka dude a few different occasions. But, I don't know what hold they had on him as far as the DC car, but he was sending money off his books. So finally, I was just like, you know what? Eventually this is gonna get us in a bind. If these dudes burn him, I'm on the front line, and I might end up getting stabbed up or might end up catching a case over this dumb motherfucker that don't want to listen to the politics and protocols. So I made up my mind, and I was like, fuck it. If these dudes gonna be pressing you, then I might as well get a piece of it too, because in a way, you're under the umbrella, you're under my protection, you know. So I pulled up Deuce and I told him, hey, look, this motherfucker ain't trying to listen. So here's a commissary list. I filled out a commissary list. I gave it to Deuce. I told him and I instructed him, hey, just take this to Kamanaka and let him know to come back at lunch with the commissary. Because over there in Beaumont, you just fill out on your day. Everybody has a certain day depending on what unit you live in. You fill out your list. You go get in line. When you get up there, you give your list to somebody at the window. They go bag up your grocery, and that's that. So Kamanaka was going to commissary at lunch. So in the morning, I gave Deuce the commissary slip and had him go instruct dude what he needed to do. And me and Bullet and a couple other homies, we burned off and went out to wreck. While I'm out at wreck, somebody comes over and tell me, "Hey man, 'cause we're at it's still between the move. It's at breakfast time." So I'm out in one of the yards, and somebody that we knew came over to where I was at and was like, "Hey Mason, man, you better go check on your homie." I'm like, "Wow, what's up? What's going on?" Because man, they're out there arguing in front of the fucking unit, making a scene. And that's one thing we don't do. We don't make no scene. Because when you make a scene, people's going to stop and look, and then the gun tower is going to stop and look, and you're going to blow up the spot. So I burned off out of the rec yard, went over to the unit, and I see Deuce and Kamanaka arguing in front of the unit. So I pulled up on Deuce. I'm like, hey, homie, what are you doing? Oh, man, I'm just trying to tell this motherfucker. I said, yeah, but why are you doing it out here in front of the unit? I told you, take him in the cell. So as I'm saying that, Kamanaka's like, man, what's going on? Make sure, like, what the fuck, man? Why are you doing this? You know, and I looked at him. I said, homie, I try to tell you the situation a few times, but you want to be hard-headed and you want to let these black dudes press you, knowing that I'm going to be on the front line when shit goes south. So, fuck it, this is what it is. Oh, man, that's fucked up. I said, yeah, that's what it is. So, you know, I sent Deuce on his way, and I went and told Kamanaka, I said, hey, this is what it is, homie. Take care of that, you know. Well, he didn't end up getting any of the stuff on the list, but he went and talked to this other Hawaiian dude that was there named Shaq. And Shaq came and talked to me after one of the moves, and we sat down. We had an agreement to where they paid me a certain amount every week. That being said, we fast forward to, I said, Beaumont got closed down. I went to Atwater. Deuce got sent to Pollock. And like I said, I didn't keep in touch with him or anything like that. But when I had the conversation with Flip, you know, he told me that the homie didn't drink or smoke anymore. And to me, it was a surprise because, you know, while we was in Beaumont, we partied all the time. Well, anyway, I just put that in the back of my mind, forgot about it. But later on, when I ended up in Florence, I ran into a homie that kind of filled me in on what happened with Deuce while he was in Pollock. So I guess when Deuce went to Pollock, they had some Asian homies that had some money, right? And Deuce got it in his head that he was going to extort one of the homies, one of the Asian homies. And he didn't keep it to himself. He went and told one of the homies about his plan. Said, yeah, man, Deuce got some money, this and that. I'm going to push up on him and extort him. Well, the homie that he confided that information to, went and told the dude that Deuce was planning on extorting. And you know, you have to keep in mind that in a penitentiary, people are there for a reason. You know, sometimes somebody might look like they're soft because they're not walking around with their chests out or they're not into shit or whatever. But for the most part, man, we're all men in there. And some people are victims. Some people are predators. Some people you can push up on, and some people you can't. You know, I always say there's two types of inmates. There's prey and predator. And if you don't know which one you are, then most likely you're a victim. Because a lion knows he's a lion. You know? So with Deuce, I don't know what got into his head because usually, you know, for me personally, I don't really push up on people regardless if they know how to fight or not. But when they get to the point where they're arrogant or they think that their money speaks for them, that their money is their player status, or that they think they're better than you because of their money, or because they're doing something that's going to jeopardize the group because they don't want to listen to the politics and follow the rules. Because at the end of the day, if I'm on the front line, if this dude's going to put me in a situation, well, and he's not going to listen to the advice or the rules that I'm giving him, if he want to disregard me and continue to put me in a situation, then I'm of the mindset that fuck it. Might as well get something out of it. If you're gonna let somebody press you, then I'm gonna be the one that's pressing you. You're my homie. You're in my car, but you're letting somebody else from another race push up on you. You're not wanting to defend yourself or stand up for yourself. Well, I'm not gonna fight for you. I'm gonna fight with you, but I'm never gonna fight for you. You know. So anyway, so word gets back to the Asian homie that Deuce is getting ready to bring him a move. So the Asian homie, he goes out and buys a bunch of wine and moonshine and invites Deuce. And now they're in the cell. They're all drinking, having a good old time, and they get Deuce nice and drunk. And when Deuce was drunk, they busted his head. I think maybe 3 or 4 of them jumped on him, knocked him out, stomped him out till he was unconscious. And, from the story that I was told, like they thought they had killed him. So they dragged him from the cell and took him down to the showers and threw him in the shower and went back into their cell. But while they're in the cell, doing what they're doing, I don't know if they were drinking some more or whatever. Of course, they're probably talking about the situation. Somebody comes up to their door, knocks on the door, and lets them know, hey, that dude Deuce woke up, right? So when they found out that he woke up, they went back out and stomped him and smashed him out in the showers until he was unconscious again. Well, at this time, the first incident was in the cell, so the police wasn't aware of the incident. But now they're in the shower on the second tier, and of course, all the commotion when you're stomping somebody out, it makes a lot of noise. And the CO got hip to the noise and went up there, sprayed everybody, restrained everybody, and took everybody to the SHU. But when they took everybody to the SHU, they took Deuce to medical, and all the guys that was in the incident got written up. And when you get write up for an incident, it tells you what the CO witnessed, and then of course every unit in the penitentiary's got cameras, and then also the medical stuff, And when they read it in the medical stuff, they saw that when they took Deuce to medical, he flatlined. He died. But somehow the people in medical was able to revive him and brought him back to life. And then a few minutes later, he collapsed again and flatlined again. And again, the medical people revived him and brought him back to life. And, that's my homie. So for me, I'm grateful that he survived it. But, that incident I share with you is just really just to say that, every situation ain't the same. Just because you see somebody that ain't walking around with their chest out, that ain't loud or acting like they're tough, doesn't mean that they're going to be your victim. And when you go about a situation like that to try to extort somebody or press somebody or take something from somebody just for the sake of taking it, you're not in the right. Now, I'm not saying I was in the right with the situation in Beaumont, but for me, in my mind, I justify it because I have already spoken to this dude. I have already warned him about it. And I know the situation that he's in, if it goes south, it's going to lead us into a wreck. And I'm going to be on that front line. I've been on the front line from the time I got locked up to the day I came home. Because for me, I'm not going to allow my reputation to be diminished or to be slandered because one of the homies out here doing some goofy shit. Because I can't never give, if something has to be done, I can't allow another race to handle the business. If one of the homies fucking up, I'm not going to allow another car or another race to jump on him. I got to go and deal with that. So if you're going to put me in that type of situation and you're going to be hard-headed and not respect, the politics and where you live, then I'm not going to have any respect for you either. Because if a situation like that happens and somebody brings us a move, they're not just going to bring the dude to move, they're going to bring all of us to move because we're all guilty by association. When we bring a move to a car, we're not, if this dude jump out there and disrespect us or whatever, or disrespect me, and I go and punish him, his homie's not going to sit there and watch me punish him. His homie's going to get involved. So knowing that their homie's going to get involved, when you bring the move, you got to bring the move to the whole car, especially when it comes to racial lines. If a black dude decides to hit a Mexican dude, all of his homies going to be prepared to hit the rest of the Mexicans. Vice versa. White dude hitting a black dude, they got to bring that whole move to the whole black car because the blacks aren't going to sit around and watch one of their homies get stomped out by some white dudes. So you're not there by yourself. Especially, there's no such thing as somebody walking the yard by themselves. I say, yeah, I walk the yard by myself in the aspect that none of these dudes around me is obligated to have my back. We build a relationship. We're under an Asian Islander car, but at the end of the day, there's no oath. We're not in the same gang. There's no guarantee that they're going to have my back. There's no guarantee that I'm going to have their back, But even if these black dudes or these white dudes run independent, they're not from a gang or anything like that, the other blacks or the other whites is not going to watch another race jump on one of their own. That shit just doesn't happen. So what the lesson with Deuce is that, you can't just go about, thinking somebody's soft and somebody's weak because you're bigger than them, because you're tougher than them. And everything that comes out of your mouth, you're going to be held accountable for it. So in these type of situations, if you're going to bring somebody a move, just bring it. Don't go tell somebody about it because just like it happened, the dude that he thought he could trust, that he wanted to plot on the homie, he went and told this dude that he's plotting on one of the other homies. Well, the homie got a closer rapport with the dude that he's plotting on, went and gave dudes heads up, and his ass walked right into a trap. Because at the end of the day, when incidents like this happen, it's about survival. If I know this guy is bigger than me, if I know this guy can fight better than me, or is tougher than me, I'd be a dumbass to go and try to see him head up. Because at the end of the day, there's only one rule, homie, and that rule is to win. So if I got an issue with this dude and I know that I'm at a disadvantage, if I go into a cell with him, I'm going to plot. I'm going to set him up in a way where I can win. And you can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to win every single encounter. And if you don't think that way, if you don't think about winning every single encounter, giving yourself the best advantage in every situation, then you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to get flatlined. Welcome to the USP.